I don't know how deep Glenn Beck will go into this COVID-19, but it is a very sinister plan for world control, and there's a lot of facets to it.
I need to share some things on what I believe is really happening in our country. This is the biggest, most well-funded and coordinated global coup I have ever seen. Make no mistake, that's exactly what's going on right now. COVID was a very convenient tool to destroy the Western economy. Once you destroy the Western economy, all kinds of things are possible. I told you yesterday that there is a great reset coming. Now, we're not talking about a restart. Remember, we are going to stop the economy and then we're going to restart it again, and it'll have this V shape. Well, that's ridiculous, and it was never tried before. It was a risk, and it's just not going to happen. And that's not what they were going for anyway. They're looking for a global reset. And according to the World Economic Forum, the global reset will be decided in January. Now, I want to just hit a couple of things from the Economic Forum, and then I'm going to show you how well planned this really is. First, from the Economic Forum, the virus hit when many countries around the globe were already demonstrating nationalistic sympathies by looking at their interest firsts, often driven by the feeling of several who experienced or felt left out of the benefits of globalization. Who are they talking about? They're basically talking about England and the United States. When England pushed back and said, no, we want Brexit. When we hired Donald Trump to be our president and he started talking about nationalism, nationalism can be very dangerous if it is coupled with socialism. But nationalism by itself, a pride in the country and take care of your own self first, not at the expense of others, but take care of your own country or you will not be able to be a help to anyone else. That is a good thing, but not according to globalists. Then they go on to say it would be a wasted opportunity to then only focus on a restart as we have fundamental issues in our society, in our economy, and our environment. Okay, well, now wait a minute. Now we're going to have the globe and the World Economic Forum reset our society and the environment and the economy. They lay out 3 steps that have to be done. First, inequality. Due to unemployment, we risk increased inequality within countries, hitting the weakest the hardest. But there is also a risk of inequality growing between countries. Okay, well, there will always be inequality between countries, and the inequality here in America is spreading, but that's mainly because the government is favoring the banks. They're not bailing anybody out on the bottom level. You see all of the entrepreneurs that are small guys, they're not getting any help. They're helping all of the big guys.
That's always been the case. Uh, until things are really fundamentally changed on the banking and the big boy banks and the big boy financial systems, that's always going to be the case.
We in the West, they say on inequality, we in the West can now do something for developing countries, especially in Africa. We must invest. Why would we be investing in Africa right now when our economy is in the crapper? The second goal of the Economic Forum is climate change. The critical question now is how can we take a more and faster action with more emphasis on sustainability and circularity? And then the third goal of the Economic Forum on this great, not restart, God forbid we have a restart, but what they're calling a reset. The third goal is to reset capitalism. A change in capitalism is needed, according to the World Economic Forum. The focus should shift from
Socialism, Marxism, they've always tried to destroy capitalism, and this has been their goal for over 100 years, and it's not being taught. everything from education, corporate abuses, banking abuses, governmental abuses, uh, challenges in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment, going after our moral rights as far as worship, going after our judicial system, everything that you can think of, they've went after to destroy Western capitalism because it has been the most powerful thing the world has ever seen, both in the UK, especially in the United States, some parts of Europe. They hate it with a passion because it has power beyond anything they've seen.
Short-term and profit only to longer term, incorporating value creation for people and the planet, moving from shareholder value to stakeholder interests. With the economy in a recession, it is tempting to look at short-term profits by declaring cash as king and postponing investments. That applies to both countries and companies. So what they are advocating here is a change from capitalism to literal fascism. Communism owns the companies outright. Fascism is a public-private partnership where the company and the government intermix. That's the problem.
That's partly where we're at now, but make no mistake about this. We need to be taught clearly that all these different forms of socialistic programs, whether it's health care, Obamacare, government care of any form, this is part of socialistic control. Instead of making the people responsible, you make the government responsible. And anything that forms that area is a part of a socialistic control, a Marxist control. Make no mistake about it.
That's not a solution. That's the problem. Now, I want to go through a couple of things and show you how well coordinated all of this is. Do you know why our kids aren't going back to school? Our kids are going back to school because they're being taught right now government is in charge, and government can tell you at the smallest local and home level exactly what to do, and you will not buck the system. But they're looking for healthy schools. Now, let me define healthy schools according to the teachers' unions. All schools must be supported to function as community schools with adequate numbers of counselors and nurses and community parent outreach workers.
The NEA and the other school teacher associations, they're all socialistic as all get out. They need to be broken up and banned. They need to be destroyed. They're nothing but socialistic controls, and that's a way to get to our kids and their brains and their education and destroy our Constitution and Bill of Rights. Make no mistake about it. They've been working on this for a long time, and they are as socialistic as you can get.
The demands in their list of demands, actually called demands, they demand also police-free schools. Now, I thought that was the opposite way we were going, with the heavier armed security because nobody can have a gun. So you needed to have police, experts. Police are used to handling guns. But now that police are bad, who's going to protect our kids? This is a safe school? But wait, it goes on. They also want a moratorium on evictions and foreclosures, direct financial handouts to those with unspecified critical social needs, a moratorium on charter and voucher programs, and standardized testing. They want...
Again, they want a socialistic control over your real estate, your property. They want a socialistic control over charter schools. They don't want any independent thinking there. This is all a part of the Agenda 1 and 2 video. This is just an extension of Agenda 1 and 2 videos. Socialistic controls. Complete government socialistic controls.
Adequate and equitable funding and a fresh influx of cash for public schools by taxing the billionaires and Wall Street. Since when did this become a political organization? This is Marxism.
The NEA has been a political organization since its inception. Wake up, Glenn Beck. Wake up, America. The NEA has been a socialistic control on education since its inception. Study its founders. Study what they originally wanted to do. Nothing but socialistic control over education through the government.
The funds, although not directly specified, according to Journeys for Justice Alliance, the Chicago-based activist organization, they're the ones who authored the demands. They want a full moratorium on private education, not just charter schools and voucher programs. So they want to shut down all other education programs in the country. This is your teachers union. It's supported by Chicago Teachers Union, the Boston Teachers Union, the United Teachers of Los Angeles, the Massachusetts Teachers Association, the Center for Popular Democracy, the St. Paul Federation of Educators, Midwest Academy, the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association, the National Educators United, the Racine Educators United, the Little Rock Education Association, the Oakland Education Association, and of course, the Democratic Socialists of America.
Of course. Again, make no mistake about it. You go back and study the NEA. They're a socialistic founded group. They should have never been allowed to make. Again, the citizens of this United States are not waking up fully yet. They need to understand that they're attacked. They're spending The socialistic programs are spending our tax dollars against our country and our education, our systems, and our Constitution. They're using our own tax money to bring to pass their socialistic agenda. Make no mistake about it.
So you have that going on where they are right out in the open saying Marxism is the plan. But then you also have the 1619 Project going into our schools. This is ideologically driven to destroy our history. When this is officially taught in our schools, America will be lost forever. It will be 20 years before we are having teachers deny we ever even went to the moon. Or if we did, it was because of some socialist that saved the day by figuring it all out. They are now teaching this in our school. It's revisionist history. The New York Times, the project's creator, admits that it's not history. They say this is just an imagining. Well, then why are we teaching this imagining in history? It needs to be real history. So they've got the schools right where they want them, which means they have the kids. But school isn't enough. The reason the Babysitters Club and other shows on Netflix are promoting trans and other LGBT issues is that Netflix has the director of inclusion for content and marketing, and his name is Darnell Moore. You're not going to hear this from anybody else. Darnell Moore is the gay activist who co-wrote BLM's founding principles. He's also an anti-Israel guy, an outspoken pro-Palestinian BDS guy. He was part of our Destroying the Family episode a few weeks back, where they want to destroy the nuclear family. The Babysitters Club and shows for your children on Netflix are designed and helped designed by this guy. So they got your kids there. But they also have your kids at sports now. In the end zones, they're now saying that social justice phrases are going to be put in the end zones. We already have everybody taking a knee, except for a couple people who are truly brave. It wasn't brave of Colin Kaepernick to take a knee. He got a deal with Nike. That's not bravery. That is gross capitalism. The ones who are brave are the ones who are standing and not kneeling today. They're being defriended by everyone. They're never going to get a deal with Nike or anybody else. They'll be lucky to get a renewal of their contract. That is courage.
This is why putting your money where it counts for corporations that are not having socialistic agendas, Nazi agendas, is so important. This is why supporting companies that are pro-America, pro-freedom, pro-rights is so important, and not supporting ones that are worthless and could care less about our country or our freedoms, just as long as they have the control over us.
But now all of our sports teams are being hijacked, so your kids will get it there, and so will you. Meanwhile, we've shut down the economy. Here's a story from the New York Times. The coronavirus turns Midtown Manhattan into a ghost town, causing an economic crisis. Gee, you think so? Well, what does that help? Why would you do that? Well, you would do that if you knew that society was headed for the fourth great industrial or technological revolution, and the jobs were going to be lost and everything had to be changed, and all the economies needed to be changed, and somehow or another downtowns were all going to be destroyed and big office buildings. Nobody's going to go to those things. So how do we do it? Instead of telling the American people, we just cause this to happen all at once. And they'll be so grateful to us when the new normal and the reset actually goes into play. They won't care anymore that we've taken their money, we've taken their goals, we've taken their freedoms, we've taken their businesses, we've taken their country, their religion, and everything that they believed in. They'll be glad we took it when we return what little we can or care to. The dollar. The dollar moves into a new era of weakness for currency as gold gains. Gold was up over $2,000 an ounce. You're going to see the stock market go exactly as my prediction, but I'm wrong on timing. 2 or 3 years ago, 2016, I thought it was going to be the summer of unrest. I thought it would be the summer of riot in 2016. Sorry, 4 years later, it's the summer of peace. I also told you at that time that the Dow would rocket and we'd have a melt up and it would go to 40,000. We could see that, but it's all about the dollar losing all of its value. Gold is going to go through the roof. So will the stock market. God help us all.
And so will Bitcoin and digital currencies. And we're going to go dollar digital currency. And the banks are going to go digital assets also.
Because it's a reset. It's not a restart. It's a reset of the dollar that is coming. And I'm telling you now, for fairness sake, our dollar and our value in our country will be just as much as it is for some of those darn poor countries in Africa. And then we can all be equally miserable. Mark my words. Prepare for the restart and the reset. Choose which side you're on. It's going to be hard to stand for a restart, but that's the only thing that will save your freedom.
There you are, Glenn Beck. It's probably pretty close in that area. I've been warned from several experts that this reset, restart, whatever you call it, is coming. But what they're not talking about is Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of these other digital currencies are going to take off, and we're going to put billions, if not trillions of dollars in it. And the same with some of the exchange systems with Forex. It's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Look at the cash Forex trading that I'm getting into. You're going to have to think outside the box. It's Roger Martin, Billings, Montana. Good day.